So for number 1, you should be able to tell without doing anything if these are parallel, perpendicular, or neutral by looking at the slopes. So because these slopes are different, one is flipped and the other is negative, one is positive, one is negative, that is perpendicular. If they were both negative or both positive, but one was flipped, that would be neither. If they were both the exact same, both negative and the exact same number, that would be parallel.
Or both positive for the exact same number.
If you put that in decimals, you could see that they cross and make that 90-degree angle or make that T. That would also be perpendicular. Okay. Algebraically, for number 3, we haven't done absolute value equations in a minute, but isolate the absolute value, so get rid of the 4 and the 2, subtract the 2 first. Divide both sides by 4. And then after it's isolated, you have to normally look and see, is this positive or not? If it's negative, then there's nothing else left to do because there's going to be no solution. If it was positive, you would take it out of the absolute value, set it equal to a positive and a negative version, and then solve. But because of this, nothing else left. If I were to put this into decimals, nothing's going to happen. Normally you'll see 2 lines or 1 line. Here, no matter how much you zoom out, there's nothing. That means there's no solution because of the negative. Questions on either of those? I know we'll have time for you to write down the definition, maybe do a problem. We'll see about this. So on the elimination notes, go ahead and take down these notes. The elimination method is where you add or subtract or multiply and then add or subtract to eliminate a variable. Make sure the equations are lined up. Add or subtract the equations to eliminate the variable with common coefficients. Solve the equation for the remaining variable. Substitute your answer into either equation and solve for the other variable. So the last couple steps of elimination is very similar to substitution, but the first 2 are different. If there aren't common coefficients, you multiply one or both equations by a number to make them common. I'll explain what that means here. So let's start at 1. Make sure the equations are lined up. So that means the y's are on top of each other, the equals is on top of each other, the x's, and the constants, which in number 1 that is the case. Then you can choose, really you can choose, it doesn't matter, but look for one that has a common coefficient. So the same number in front of the variable. And then use that to eliminate. Eliminate means what? I said that in other terms. What would eliminate mean?
Take away.
Get rid of. So we want to get rid of the variable that has common coefficients. So in number 1, that would be which variable? Y has common coefficients. So then when you think about how could we eliminate them, you're either going to add or subtract. Would adding or subtracting get rid of the y? There we go. So if I subtract them, so I'm going to subtract one equation from the other, y minus y would give me 0. 3x minus 1x would give me 2x. And 4, be careful with your negatives, minus a negative would be a plus. So from here, you've eliminated one of your variables and can solve for the other one. How would we solve this one for x?
Would you solve it like a regular equation?
How?
Minus 6 to both sides. And then divide by 2.
We have negative 3 equals x, And just like our substitution problems, once we have one variable, we have to put it back in and solve for the other. Does not matter which one. So if I put this into the first one or the second one, it doesn't matter. I'm going to use the second one though. So if I put in my value, I could find what y is. And then write that as an ordered variable. Questions about how that process works? We'll do one more and then that'll be it for today. Number 2 is not in the same format as number 1, but that's okay, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be in y equals mx plus b. Which of these are the common coefficients, x or y? X. So we could get rid of x by adding or subtracting?
Subtracting.
So we're going to subtract them as is, everything's lined up. So x minus x would give us 0. 4y minus a negative, that would become a plus. And 13 minus 3 would give us 9. Then you could divide, solve for y. And then do the same thing he just did. Take y, put it into one of the equations, it does not matter which one, and solve for x. So let's say I'm using the second one. X minus 2 equals 3. So the x value is 5. Any questions so far? Tomorrow we will do more of these problems. You'll have some time to practice after that. And then on Friday we will start word problems. I will have office hours today and tomorrow. Remember that next Wednesday and Thursday are the last days for retake work and retakes.